Hey, welcome back to our channel. In this video, we have a brand new release from Mattel. It's the Charge N Chomp Carnotaurus, part of the new Jurassic World Survival theme. We have some new artwork, new logo, and name of the dinosaur. We have a large image of the figure in action, has running attack and roaring sounds. And down here, we have some cool images of a Stegosaurus and Gorgosaurus with some facts app info. Right, now let's crack on and get this figure unpacked. Here it is out of the box, and my first impressions, the head sculpt looks awesome. But looking at the extra articulation in its legs, I'm not really liking this new running attack feature, as the figure will only pose in two positions and isn't very steady. The figure is mainly this dark blue tone with a reddish brown head. Here's a look inside its mouth, has a nicely sculpted tongue and soft plastic teeth. We also have some contrasting reddish-brown markings across its back. The lower jaw is this cream tone, which runs down its throat and the underside of the figure. The sculpting around the legs looks odd, but this is due to the running attack feature. Looking around the figure, let's start with its head sculpt. The detailing on the head looks great, and we have some lips that cover its teeth. The head has various size scales and osteoderms across it, and here's a better look at its large horns. The horns are a softer plastic. Here's a front view of the head. Here's another look inside its mouth. The sculpting inside looks great, and you can see how far its lower teeth are set back. The jaw articulation is only activated by its Charge N Chomp feature. Around its neck and shoulders, we have some skin wrinkling and creases. And we have a row of spikes on top of its head running down its neck. The lower jaw has some very fine scale detailing and some osteoderms. We have even more skin wrinkling on this side of the figure. Moving down to its back, we have a long row of spikes and various sized osteoderms running down to its tail. Here we have the button that activates this Charge N Chomp feature. The tail is covered in various sized spikes, osteoderms and scales, even underneath it. Here you can see its huge muscular rear legs and the extra articulation in them. The lower part of the legs and feet are black, and they have some scoots on them. We have some rib detailing in the body, and just look at its short stubby arms. It really makes you wonder, what were the use of these really short stubby arms? Here you can see the gap around the rear leg that accommodates the leg movement in its Charge N Chomp feature. Personally, I don't like the look of this, as it gives this figure a really odd look. The rest of the figure is sculpted really well, and there's a nice detailing across it. But as I said, the main selling point of this figure for me is its head sculpt, and would have been miles better without its Charge N Chomp feature. And here we have its fax app code. Let's scan him in. And here it is scanned in. Here's the front of him, side, back, other side. And here's the info. Well, the same as the car, origin in South America. When you press this button, activates this Charge N Chomp feature. This is its running attack and roaring sounds. It also activates its neck and jaw chomping feature. Here's a front view of the figure, and you can see these features in action. In amongst the various roaring effects, there are some stomping sounds. But the legs flapping around just looks very odd. Here we are around this side of the figure, and just look at those legs flapping around. I personally feel this figure could have just had its chomp feature. The figure can only stand like this due to its leg positioning. You press the button, which then repositions his legs, which is just the opposite of how they originally were. Here's a view of this from this side, and you can see just how unsteady this figure is. And just look how the feet just flap around. Here's a couple of other Carnotauruses that we had to hand. We have the Hammer Collection and Real Feel Carnotaurus. Here's a closer look at the Charge N Chomp and Hammer Collection Carnotaurus' head sculpts. Here you can see how much different and larger the horns are on the Charge N Chomp figure. Here we have the real feel Carnotaurus, and it has a very different head sculpt altogether. This figure's head and horns has a very different look to the Charge N Chomp figure. I was really surprised to find this figure available at Smith's Toys today. The figure has some plus points and some negative. This is basically aimed at the Charge N Chomp feature and the extra leg articulation. I do like the colour scheme of dark blue and reddish brown. The figure has a really interesting looking head sculpt along with these large horns. Thanks for checking this video out. Hope I'll see you again soon.